Hey there, so welcome to my review for the latest episode of Star Wars Rebel Start. So this is the mid-series finale, and spoiler, they leave us with a cliffhanger while we wait probably about 2 months to find out what happens. Come on! They really know how to keep you coming. But I just want to say from the beginning that my prediction video was so off. All I got right all that I got correct was that the rebels were going to attack Losal, and that was literally it. I got nothing else right. So yeah. So what did I think of the episode? Good episode, but there was a few moments can have you done something a tiny bit differently there would have made a little more sense. But from the start, and when I was watching it, I should say. Uh, and then they're gonna leave us for a whole until probably January is when they're gonna pick up. So 2 months, just to say for ease and convenience, before we find out what happens. Well, we know some of the stuff that happens because of Rogue One. We know that Hera survives and gets back to Yavin 4, but other than that, we have no idea what's going to happen, and that's what they intend. But simply because we know she's mentioned in Rogue One, we see Chopper and the Ghost, her surviving this episode and escaping the Empire. We know that's going to happen. We're more interested in how it's going to happen. But yeah, I was totally off. And I really didn't care how they introduced the X-Wings. Good introducing them in combat and that. Again, they showed some actually proper spacecraft maneuvers in here with the X-Wing. That's nice to see. They're getting a bit more realistic with that. There's more sharper turns and all that. And it was only better piloting in the beginning of the episode that allowed Hero to actually defeat the TIE Defender. I think it was a TIE Defender Elite too, I'm not sure. But that was the only way. Spoiler alert, of course. But yeah. But that was nice to see some better fun. I wish they had more accurate space combat. Hope they continue to do that more often because it looks neater, better, and more. It doesn't look like you're watching something out of World War II. That actually looks more futuristic. So I hope they don't make it too much like how it would be in our real world, because I want it to be distinct enough from our real world that you can say that way there's some slightly different physics to make it a bit more interesting introductorily from trying to grasp your mind around it, but still fun enough to watch. More complex stuff that I don't even want to get into myself, so let's move on. Yeah. So yeah, nice to see the X-Wings. I just wish they had introduced them much better, like the Rebels planning to leave for the assault on the Saw. We got some new ships for you. X-Wings, they should help you in case you do fight any TIE defenders. That would have been neat to see kind of in the beginning, like, we got some new ships for you kind of thing. And I really wanted to see that. Kind of make a review, not just because the review in my opinion was terrible, just bored and terrible. I wanted the review to be grandiose. I think would have helped if they made this a two-part episode, because I would have given them some time to actually, how I think it should have been. The first part should have been the rebels on Yavin preparing for the assault. They're getting the X-Wings brand new, well maybe not new, but new to them, arriving at the base for the first time. You see them leave Yavin 4. You see them do where all the pilots check in, because I would love to see that, because I wanted to know what pilots were actually in that battle. We only know a few, but not a lot of them we just don't know. But yeah, I kind of wish that, and then the first would also seen the initial assault, and then the second part could have been more what happened after they were shot down, which would be nice in a way to see. Granted, I don't know how they could. The first part I wanted expanded. The second part I don't know how much I actually want to expand. Actually, maybe they could have elaborated a little more with Kanan in the Lost World. That could have been how they could have filled more time up too. They could also have maybe one X-Wing that crash landed outside the capital city that the rebels got to rescue. That would have been nice to see, and that is nice to see, but they didn't do that. But it was still a good episode, just a few things I wish they had done differently. And actually, to address some of my predictions, is that I predicted that they would destroy the TIE Defender Factory. Obviously, they did not do that, because my predictions were totally off. But that would be nice to see, one at least manage to at least damage it, if not destroy it, so they destroy it. But they have to destroy it at some point. Otherwise, why don't we see TIE Defenders in the original trilogy? Because I don't know, if I was Empire and he was in Empire and like, hey, we got these excellent fighters. They're more expensive, but they're excellent quality, very good for combating rebel ships. So I can like, nah, the Death Star will be able to defend itself. No, somebody else says, at least have a squadron aboard. And from all we know, there could have been a squadron aboard the Death Star, but Tarkin decided that it was not necessary, thinking the regular TIEs could handle it, and actually it was Darth Vader who launched the TIEs. But, so yeah. But they need to explain why we really don't see TIE Defenders in the original trilogy. My thing is it was so rare they just kept them in the hangar bays, because the rebels had destroyed the factory and all that earlier, which I think they have to do before Rebels ends. They also have to explain why we don't see most of these characters in the original trilogy. We know, and some can make sense, like fighting elsewhere. And Hera, so we know she survived the Battle of Scarif because of forces of destiny. And that, if I'm correct, that stuff is considered canon. And if we consider that she survived, that means she could have fought in Endor. Oh, not. No, it's possible they had a few ships fight against elsewhere, and mock-up operations. You need more people sometimes. But it's like we didn't see every character, every fighter pilot in the movie. We didn't see every possible person who was at the battle, so it's possible. But yeah, I just want. But that's kind of in the future. I'm talking about this episode. Really, I'll be actually having a video out next week where I'll be talking about what I'm thinking is going to happen for the rest of the season based only off of everything we've seen so far and what we know. Because that's all we can actually base it off. But, so yeah, but before I complete my video, I just want to say, it was a good episode. I am frustrated with a few tiny things, like, come on, you had an opportunity to steal an Imperial transport. You could have used that and helped get out of the city. Or that could have had a very neat tank battle, which again would have been pretty unique to see as well. But we didn't. But I would have loved to see that. So that would be a tank transport battle would have been kind of a neat thing. That actually could have been how they could have lengthened it. Kind of a neat action piece ground combat, but not foot soldiers, but vehicles. Something that the closest thing I think in the original trilogy was the Battle of Hoth. Let's see, and the Battle of Geonosis in the prequels, and a little bit of some other prequel stuff. But it would have been neat to see that way. And then they could have had that, and then they could have booked that into Star Wars Battlefront too by having rebels being able to steal ships. And I hope that they do that in Star Wars Battlefront too. I honestly not quite sure because I didn't get to play the beta enough. But that's kind of off topic, and I don't think it is what I was saying. Not that being off topic, it is off topic, but that's getting kind of rambling. So back to the episode at hand. So yeah, so overall it was pretty good. Just a few things I wish they would have done differently. Mainly making it 2 episodes and adding a ground vehicle combat section, and them also preparing for the assault. Both would have been nice to see, in my opinion. Because if I felt like it was kind of, we jumped into it kind of abruptly, and I don't mind it finishing on a cliffhanger. but it was the abrupt jump into it that I really did not care for. That's one thing about Rebels as a whole. I don't is not my favorite. Is how they oftentimes do that abrupt jump into the episode. It can kind of get a bit disconnecting at times. Also, I want to know what happened to that mining guild vessel they commandeered in the previous episode. Would be nice to know. But that's where I'm going to end my review here. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like and comment down below. What did you think of this episode of Star Wars Rebels? Sorry about that. So what did you think of this episode of Star Wars Rebels? Let me know in the comments. Also consider following me on social media. Links are in the description. And as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the force be with you always.